welcome to the Iraq Football Podcast, ladies and gents. I'm your host, Hassan Bilal, and we have a ton of different things to discuss today, all related to the last two games that Iraq have played with Lebanon and the UAE. There's been no shortage of events, and we're going to be here to discuss all of them. I'm joined by none other than Hassan Osama. Hassan, welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's great to be back as always to discuss all of the things that have happened, which have been a lot, both positive, but mostly negative, unfortunately. And excited to get into it.
Yeah, well, there is a ton to discuss. We're going to be doing that, but we're also fortunate to be joined by Amir Al-Ammari, the legend himself, the midfield maestro. We're going to have our interview with him featured towards the end of the show, so stick around to watch that. But let's jump straight into the discussion for the Lebanon game, Hassan. We had a lot of discussion before the game related to how we're going to see mass changes in the Iraqi national team. There were discussions about Humam getting dropped. There were discussions on Safa getting dropped. Al Abd Zahra. All these different players were touted to be removed. Advocate was keen to get rid of them. And there was supposed to be a huge influx of a variety of different expat players. Mohamed Jihaz, Jilwan, Yasser Qasim was touted to be joining the national team. Justin and Franz was set to return. Then we turn up and actually the reality turned out to be much more different. The expats, all of them excluded. Rabin was supposed to feature, but he picked up an injury that we'll discuss in a lot more detail later on about what exactly happened to him and his club. Hassan, what were your thoughts on the squad selection?
Yeah, after the disaster against Iran, we all knew that there was big changes that were necessary in the team. Lots of squad changes, players that needed to be removed and replaced by players inside and outside of Iraq, regardless of whether they're expats or not. But the main idea is that the players that were performing were not at the standard that we required. And so, it was a big disappointment when we realized that actually the team that will go into these last two games against Lebanon and Emirat was basically unchanged. We did it's kind of like we had a list of like 6 expat players as well that they said that they were going to bring in at one point. Jilwan and Yasser Qasim possibly, as you said, and Rabin and everybody else. But in the end, we only saw Amir come in, and he was benched for both games for some reason after featuring as pretty clearly as the best player in the last 2 matches when he made his debut. So it was disappointed to see the squad, and then after we saw the squad, it was pretty clear how things were going to go. I don't think it was reasonable to expect a big improvement out of nowhere when you have the same squad, the same underperforming players, the same players who haven't played any games for months, almost a year for, the case of Ali Adnan and Safa. And so, when these players are unfit, unmotivated, and they know that their spot is secure in the team, you can't expect big changes. So right away, I was expecting a 0-0 with Lebanon, which is exactly what we saw. And in fact, we were a little bit lucky. Fahad Talib made some strong saves to salvage a point, which is a bit of a disaster for us. When we're coming in, we're hoping to get at least third in this group. Emirat as well. I was expecting a little bit less than what we got. I was expecting a 2-0, and it probably would have ended up that way if Amir didn't come into the game, as he did, and helped, had a big hand in the 2 goals that we did score. So it's unfortunate, but after we saw the squad, it was not surprising at all for me.
Some quite a variety of different points. I want to raise one thing that was mentioned regarding the squad selections. Not so much about the expats, because we've discussed this at length about their exclusion, the kind of political situation in terms of why they're being left out of the squad, etc. By the way, just on a side note, I'm hearing my voice and listening to how much my voice has gone. you're wondering what's happened there, guys, I was at the game yesterday, and obviously, when you're at the game and it was as as eventful as yesterday, my voice is practically gone. So do excuse that. But yeah, as I was saying, sorry, with the squad selection, like there's been discussions on whether these guys are, forget better than the expats, are these guys even better than some of the other players that feature in the Iraq Premier League? There's a variety of different clubs. There's some big teams. Uh, there are players performing far better than the likes of the local players that are chosen with the national team. Um, and it really creates a discussion as to why these players continue to be chosen. Is it an expat vendetta, or is it that these players are just irreplaceable for one reason or another? And those reasons are, they seem to be not related to football. Um, so it really does make you think. We on Twitter, we had a Twitter space. We were joined by quite a few people. And Hassan, before the game, we mentioned that we predicted the game was going to be 0-0. At one point, I said, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we lose, and we weren't too far off that. The game went exactly as we thought it would go. It would be slow. It would be predictable in our approach. It would be very lacking in creativity, very slow in how we press and how we move the ball, and it turned out unfortunately to be exactly the same. Lebanon, in fact, looked the better team, even though we were at home, and I say at home with quotation marks, because obviously, like, we're playing games in Qatar, and that's not ideal. But Lebanon looked the better team. Like, people are looking at Lebanon before the tournament, saying, "Oh, these guys are going to be like a walk in the park, and this is a great group for Iraq." But the irony, of course, is that actually we are, and I said this during the space, we look like the weakest team in the group. We've played 4 games so far. South Korea battered us. I don't know how we didn't lose that. Iran literally battered us, and we lost that. Then we played Lebanon, and we were very lucky. Fahad Talib kept us in the game with some big saves. And we'll talk a bit more about Fahad Talib later, because he's been a huge success story and advocate. He's somebody that has risen to the challenge of playing under a new manager, of having Jalal Hassan being injured and filling in big shoes, and I've been very impressed with him. He's not been perfect, but like, you know, yeah, I guess you have to compare his performance with that of other Iraqi football goalkeepers, and he's done very well considering the circumstances and considering the size of these matches. So he saved us versus Lebanon. We'll come and talk a little bit more about the UAE game, where he actually saves us yet again. But sorry, that was Robin Salaka messaging me. The Lebanon game, I just can't believe it. I can't believe how poor we looked. I can't believe how predictable our attack looked, how slow we were in terms of moving the ball, and just lacking in any sort of creativity in the middle. The only creative outlet we had was Bashar, and that was it. But you mentioned Amir Al-Ammari. Like, why do you think he was benched, Hassan? I want to ask you, like, what do you think from a tactical perspective? What was Advocate thinking?
Wish I knew. I wish I knew. You know, when we see the players who are, you know, making appearances and coming into the game ahead of him, it makes no logical sense that I can see why he's not playing. You know, from the first minute, full 90 every game. You know, when you have you know, Safa Hadi, who's clearly unfit and clearly like not in the headspace like of playing international football. He used to be a key player for us like maybe 2 years ago, but right now he's not there. And it's not just him, but like, you know, the other members of the team. And then you have Amir Al-Ammari sitting on the bench. It's just uh, it boggles my mind. I don't understand why he's not playing at all. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, look, when it comes to things like this, I really do try to see things from a different perspective. You know, obviously everyone has a biasness towards who they want to see play, but I try to actually look at the other perspective and say, okay, what is the team going to get by dropping Amir? And if we look at the players that were brought in, it's so baffling as to why you would have such a defensive setup against Lebanon. When you're in your home game, you're desperate for 3 points. Your team were just humbled by your nearest rivals where you lose 3-0 and the performance is abysmal. Surely you're going to try playing for a win. You're going to put in an attacking team. And lo and behold, we see Amir on the bench when he was by far our best player against Korea. And then against Lebanon, he wasn't amazing. And he would admit this himself, but I think he had a very good game considering the circumstances and considering how everybody else performed. So to see him on the bench was just, yeah, it's so baffling. It's so confusing. And I really can't see what Advocate was thinking to justify such a bizarre decision. Um, what did you make of the performance overall?
Just overall, like the one word I could use about it is like it's just depressing to like watching them play. Like
What was
defensively, we don't
depressing?
even
What was
have.
depressing?
It's just all over the pitch. It's like at least when we had Katanec, like you could say that defensively we were sound. Uh, Nowadays, like even that's not there. And the attack is the same kind of. It's not that different from under Katanec as well. Like Katanec, we had Mimi in the form of his life scoring goals from nowhere, and we don't have that anymore. And now it's just Bashar making dribbling runs by himself, trying to single-handedly create something. Our forwards don't make runs at all. Like I remember it was the same thing between against Lebanon and against Imarat. Aymen Hussain, no off the ball movement, no overlapping runs, nothing when our playmakers have the ball. And so then it's just a group of individuals, trying to create something, and any organized team can repel that. It's not that difficult. It's not like it feels like we're playing like a team stuck in the 80s. Like there's no tactic or anything, no structure to the way we attack or the way that we defend or the way we do anything. And it's just from the start of the game, it just feels inevitable that we'll either lose or end up with a draw. We're not. It doesn't feel like we're going to score goals like organically, unless it's like a ridiculous individual attempt or a free kick or a penalty or something like that. Outside of that, it never feels like we'll score. And so knowing, like seeing how the team has been playing game after game, as soon as you see the signs at the beginning of the game, first 5-10 minutes of the game, and it just feels like it's inevitable. This is what the result is going to be. And it's just depressing to know that there's no hope that you're going to see, good football and a good win, especially in a moment when we really need some points. Like we've played 4 games now with Advocat and not a single win. And this is like we're almost halfway in the qualifiers and we haven't won a game. So it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, I think what works in our favor is that I think the group overall have, especially the bottom 4 teams. So Iraq, Lebanon, UAE, and Syria have all just looked very, very poor. So that gives us some hope in terms of maybe third place qualification or. I mean, things can change very quickly. If you get a win or two, suddenly actually you're back in contention to qualify for the World Cup. But I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's the circumstances we find ourselves in. Yeah, it was a very bleak performance. That's why I would use as a way of explaining it. I think it looked, again, I've said this before, it looked like a team of players that have never played football together. There was no real chemistry. There's no cohesion. There's no understanding between the players. Bashar had that one run where he took on a few players and scuffed the finish. But as a manager, you need to have a game plan in terms of how you're going to break down opposition defenses. And with all due respect, this is Lebanon we're playing. This is not South Korea or Iran, where they're actually very talented footballers. We're playing a team that we should be beating. and quite comfortably at that. But which seemed like lacking in ideas, lacking in terms of how we're going to actually move the ball. Like the players come onto the pitch and they don't have any real understanding of what they're going to do with the ball. Now you might argue that this is the manager's fault, but you might also argue that the manager has an idea and he's trying to implement it, but the players are the ones that just don't have the capability in terms of playing the level of football that this manager's trying to bring. You know, we have a world class manager. We have a um, well proven manager who's played all across the world, and it seems that the players just cannot comprehend what this manager is trying to achieve, and maybe not comprehend. Maybe they can comprehend it, but they don't have the ability or the skills or the maybe even the willingness to put into practice all the different requirements needed to successfully succeed with these tactics. So it was just very bleak, very dull, and very mundane, unfortunately. But we draw nil. You start to see yet again the fans turning on the team, the social media posts, the the I'm not saying it's correct, but you know the harassment that these players are getting. Some of you could argue that it's justified. I think some players. I mean, look, there's this harassment where you're attacking players on a personal level. I disagree with that, but like calling out players for poor performances, I'm 100% behind that. These players, like people talk about ghira and like wearing the shirt or representing Iraq. It's true. These players are there to represent 14 million Iraqis just in Iraq, excluding all the other Iraqis that are living outside of the country, like myself and you, and the expats in Sweden and Syria and Jordan and Australia and Canada, America, or Holland, or everywhere. Okay, there's millions of us. You're telling me these are the best 11 players that you can find, and this is the amount of effort these guys are going to put in? It is disgraceful. Wallah al-Azim, it is disgraceful. And it really is embarrassing that these guys will go onto that pitch and perform the way they do. It is unforgivable. But we go into the UAE match. Fortunately, I managed to get tickets to this. Before the game, I went to visit Amir Al-Ammari. We went to the team hotel. Uh, it was really funny because when I got there just in time as the team came off the bench, and I saw them all coming in, and I was waiting for Amir. And obviously, you know, as a massive fan of the Iraq national team, like I'm really excited to see some of these players. I'm excited to see players like Bashar, for example, Ahmed Ibrahim, who I quite like. Um, few others here and there, but I couldn't even bring it in me to go and say hi to these guys because it's just so upsetting, man. Like some of the players just should not be there. And what really frustrates me and what really hurts is that I know the quality that Iraq have in players like Justin Miram and Jilwan and Yasser Qasim and Franz Botros, Mohamed Jihaz, amongst many others, Osama Rashid. These guys are sat on their asses at home watching these guys put on the Iraqi shirt, and these guys are not fit to wipe their boots. And yet these are the players that are chosen, and then the rest, like Osama Rashid and Jilwan, they're the ones sat at home. It's heartbreaking, and I genuinely couldn't find it within me to go and say hi to these players. I just sat there waiting, and I waited for Amir, and I have to say, an amazing human being, really lovely guy. Really, really excited to play for Iraq. You can see the enthusiasm in him. But yeah, we'll come more back to that interview. So yeah, we interviewed Amir. We went afterwards to the game the next day, and we saw 500 Iraqi fans turn up to support the national team, and I have to say, what a 500 group! They were singing the whole game, before the game, after the game. truly an incredible experience, and I'm really like humbled and honored to be part of that. But usually when I watch an Iraq game and we're not playing very well, it's depressing. It's depressing. You feel like you can't really do much, and you want to see the team succeed, but it's like there's nothing you can do. You just have to sit there and watch it and just pray, basically. When you're at the stadium, it really hurt a lot more seeing how poor some of these players are. Like when the game started, wallah al-azim, uh, we started all right. We were passing the ball well. That was one thing I noticed in the UAE game that I can't say we saw against any of the other three teams. Not against South Korea, not against Iran, not against Lebanon. We passed the ball well. That was the first game where you could actually kind of see some of the training that Advocate has been doing with these guys. They were passing the ball. They were trying to do a couple of touch and move routines that they clearly practiced. They were starting to avoid hoofing at every given opportunity. And that was nice to see. But again, the lack of quality was so evident. Bashar Hassan, wow, what a player. This guy, man. He's completely different level to anybody there. But then you look at players like Ali Adnan, who he didn't look like a football player yesterday, unfortunately. He genuinely looked like this guy's won like a raffle competition to come and play and represent Iraq. And for him to be there was disgraceful. Like, I was watching him play thinking, Jesus, how bad are the Iraqi left backs in the league? How bad is Durgham that Advocate would rather play Ali Adnan starting with a leg that's clearly injured. He's clearly overweight. He's clearly not match fit. How is this guy starting the match? It's unbelievable. And then we'll come on to Homam afterwards, who he brings on to replace Ali Adnan, and Durgham is there injured. I mean, for me, the question is, if you're not going to play Durgham, if you want to prioritize Ali Adnan and Homam as a left back, makeshift left back, why bring Durgham? Or bring somebody else in. Bring another left back in the Iraqi league. See what happens. Bring Franz Butros. Franz Butros, he's going to be worse than what Durgham did against Iran, where he was liable for every single goal we conceded. It's strange decisions that we see in the national team. But yeah, anyway, going back to the fans were unbelievable. Like, it was such a great atmosphere, and I really had fun. But the players really let the team down. Like, they just couldn't create anything. They couldn't do much in terms of pressing. They looked tired. They looked lazy. Ala Abdel Zahra, wallahi, watching him play was genuinely depressing. Like, this guy, I know he's 33 on paper. He's easily about 37. Like, the way he was running, it was like he was running in mud. Like, it was like watching football in slow motion. Watching Ali Adnan was like watching football in slow motion. He's so slow. There was one incident where they nearly scored their ball. The guy slides the striker and somehow gets past Fayed Talib. But the whole lead up to that play is that Ali Adnan goes for a sliding tackle down the left-hand side. He misses the ball because he's so slow. Just watching players perform like that was just abysmal. A lot of people praising Ibrahim Bayish. Ibrahim was getting the ball and just running down the right-hand side or the left-hand side, really out of ideas. Like, so predictable. Fayed Talib had a good game. He made some huge saves. There was that last-minute save he made right at the end that, again, I'll be honest with you, I was sat right goal side to that. I was absolutely certain that was a goal. Alhamdulillah, how the referee didn't give that, I don't know. But yeah, even then, for the fact that Fayed Talib even attempted to make that save from blank point, yeah, and well done to him. Seriously, I'm actually so proud of him. He's come such a huge way these last 4 games when we've needed him. But yeah, the quality of defending was just abysmal all game. You had, first of all, the first goal where they play like a quick exchange 1-2. The midfield is completely non-present. They slice the defense. Ali Adnan again ball watching. we conceded an early goal. And one thing, I don't know if you guys watched this on television and if they showed this, because they were probably showing the replay. They scored that goal on for a minute and a half. The Iraqi players literally just stood there in complete disbelief and silence. No one moving, no one talking. It was like it, it was like slow motion. The only way I can describe it, I was looking at them, waiting for some sort of response, and the Iraqi players just stood there, just staring at each other, thinking, "What the hell just happened?" And it just shows you that there's this lack of leadership in the team. These players don't have belief in being on the pitch. They don't believe they're good enough, but they're still there. They don't believe in the manager's coaching. They don't believe that they have the ability to win games. And to be fair, that's understandable, given that they are lacking in quality. They are not good enough. But if you know you're not good enough, why turn up? Let somebody else come in and have a chance who wants to play for the national team, who's not there because of a wasta, who's not there because he's paid somebody a rashwa. It's just unbelievable. Ahmed Ibrahim, towards the end, after about 15, 20 seconds of everyone, all the Iraqi players just staring at each other, he started shouting, "Yalla Shabab," and come on, and all the kind of predictable stuff you'll see from a captain. But like when that happened, I had my head in my hands, and I just thought, this is disgraceful. Like, these players want to qualify for the World Cup, absolutely no chance. And that's when it really hit me how bad things were. Like I said, usually when you see things like we're watching the Iraq game and we're losing, it's depressing. Bro, yesterday I was like physically upset. I'm not an emotional person at all. I don't display much emotion. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but yesterday I genuinely came to a point where I was near tears, because I'm here with 500 fans. Some of them have flown from Iraq to come and support this team. These guys have paid money, a lot of money. The requirements to come yesterday, you had to get vaccinated, you had to have a PCR test, you had to have made your way to a stadium in the middle of nowhere, you have to buy tickets. Wallah, all these fans came just to support the national team, sold out event. And the way the players played was disgraceful. Only Bashar was good. Bashar, wallah, every time he got the ball, he's a class above anybody else on that pitch. Aboud looked good in midfield, to be fair. He made one very nearly fatal error, but he looked good at recycling the ball, breaking up play, etc. But Aboud, Bashar, Fayed Talib, no one else can say they had a good game besides those three. But then Amir comes on. He's again. He came on against Lebanon with was it 89th minute or 92nd minute or something laughable?
It was like 90, 91.
Yeah, disgraceful.
Had like no time to do anything.
I mean, you need a goal. What were you waiting for? What were you doing during the 90 minutes, Advocate? What were you waiting for? Were you taking a khira, or I don't understand. But Amir comes on, and within 60 seconds, 90 seconds, he scores the goal or creates the goal that gets Iraq back in the game. And I have to say, after that goal, the whole game changes. Wallah, the belief came back in the Iraqi players. They started passing the ball. They started moving quicker. They started pressing. It started to look like we were a football team again. And it's not something I've seen, not just on the Advocate. I've not seen this in about a year or maybe 2 years since the Iraq-Iran game, where we actually beat them with 2-1 with the Ala Abbas header. We've not looked like a football team in about 2 years. Because people like to blame Advocate. This team has been atrocious from the days of Katanich, where he was starting the same 11 every single game, and there was no changes. We looked predictable, and we were barely able to beat the likes of Cambodia and Hong Kong and Nepal. So don't just blame this on Advocate. There are bigger problems here, and we need to discuss that. Blaming the manager is not going to get us anywhere. So let's be very blunt in that. What did you think of the second goal, Hassan?
The second goal?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It was the second goal for Iraq, or for us. Like, it was it just symbolized like everything that Amir Al-Ammari gave us in that game. It was like he didn't get the assist, but like his dummy created the goal. and Aymen Hussain was able to score it. But like when he entered the game, like everything changed, as you said, and his technique on the ball, his passing, everything was just on a different level from everybody else on the pitch, which is like it makes me wonder like how the result would have happened if we had Bashar and Amir both starting in the midfield. Like we would have created so much more. And I also like I have to say is like he's way past it. Al Zahra, like he's been finished for years, but his movement was better than Aymen Hussain, which says a lot about Aymen Hussain's level right now. And I think if we had Amir starting with Bashar, we would have created like something for him in the first half. It's just I don't know. And then if we're going to talk about like the players not being good enough and all of these like these players who are clearly unfit, like they should not be on playing a World Cup qualifier. You know, a lot of that blame has to go to as well to like the manager who is picking them. Like I know a lot of these problems are far beyond Advocat, but the thing is like he's here right now. He's seeing the problems in front of him. If he's seeing like that these players they can't replicate his vision on the pitch, they can't replicate the tactics that he's telling them, then make the changes. I don't understand why what's the holdup here? Why we can't change the players? We can't change anything. If he's supposed to be, he wants to have full control over everything. And I remember it was after the Lebanon game, like he didn't want to talk to Yunus Mahmoud, who was put in as supervisor for the national team. He doesn't want to discuss anything with him. He's like he's in charge. He wants to make all the decisions. But then why, delegate some of the most important stuff to to the same two guys who have been picking the players for so long, and the squad is the same. It's just I don't understand it. It's just a multi-layered problem here, and we saw that Amir came in this game against Imarat, changed everything for us. We were ahead, and 3 points were in our hands, and then right away, we lost everything. It should have been 3-2 also on that third on that goal that for some reason VAR didn't give us. It was just shambolic defending for Imarat to put them in, and I think in the replay, I think it was Safa Hadi who was holding off Ahmed Ibrahim on the goal. Like it symbolizes everything that happened. Like Amir Al-Ammari creates 2 goals and then everybody else gives away, 1 goal and then should have been a third as well. I think that whole sequence, it is a perfect, symbolism for everything that has been going on with the national team for a while.
Absolutely. No, you're right, man. It was actually comical. There's a few things I want to discuss there. First of all, Amir comes on and 20 minutes completely changes the game. Now imagine that same team and you're going to see that, you're going to listen to the interview with Amir later on. And he makes a very interesting point. And he's not the first one to say this. Every single expert I've spoken to, whether they're under 17, under 20, under 23, or first team, they've all told me the same thing. The one change they want to see is to bring in more expats. Why? Because expats that play in Europe, they play a European style of football where tactics are emphasized, where the passing of the ball is emphasized, as opposed to the kind of football that you play in Iraq, where it's way more direct, way more slow, way less fluid. If you're Amir, for example, you want to play with similar players who can help create. That's why Amir really likes playing with Bashar, and you'll hear him say that in an interview coming up. And he talks about why he likes playing with him, because he's a player that's able to play quick passes. He understands how to move, how to find pockets between the defense and the midfield. But when we talk about bringing in expats, it's not that we think just that these expats are better than the other players. No, it's about the system as well. You want to bring the best out of Amir? I mean, look at Amir on his own. Look what he did. Now imagine building a team around him with players that he likes to play with, players that he has a connection with. It will be so good for Iraqi football if we actually invested time in these expats and try to work with them and not against them. But yeah, we scored that goal. As bad as he was yesterday, credit where it's due. Aymen Hussain, that was a good finish. But the the celebration, 89th minute, takes off his shirt, and he gets booked, and he's now not available for the next game against Syria, which probably means we're going to be starting. We're going to be starting Ala Abdizara yet again in a game that is absolutely must win, which, yeah, it's looking bleak. And you have to wonder which striker is going to be leading the line. The games are on the 11th and 16th of November. So we're talking about less than a month away. We have 1 month to find a striker. I wish Al-Ammari was available, but the player is still looking for a club. I think circumstances might mean it's hard for him to join. But what you're telling me, that Iraqi League's not got one good striker other than, I say one good striker other than Ayman. I don't think he's good. But yeah, it really makes you wonder who's being ignored. Now, the other point you mentioned, Hassan, is that the squad selections itself. Now, I'm under no disillusion that it is Advocate making the selections. That's true. The question, though, is where are these players? Who's making Advocate aware of the players that we are choosing? Well, we know for a fact that it's Basil Gorgis and Rahim Hamid. Advocate is not there watching the Iraqi Premier League inside the stadiums. No, we know for a fact that he's relying on these two individuals, amongst maybe others that are familiar with the Iraqi League, to recommend players that will fit the profile of who Advocate wants. And he'll ask the assistants, who do you think would be a good right back to have? Who do you think would be a good left back to have? And they would go and tell him, okay, there's this player, there's that player, Humam Tariq this, Safat Hadi that, Ibrahim Bayish this, Maitham Jabbar that. They would make the recommendations and they would bring them to the national team. And yeah, I'm sure it's Advocate who chooses who starts in the starting 11. It's him who decides who makes the substitutions. He's liable for that. But in terms of the squad selection, I don't think Advocate is there deciding which players are going to come. No, Advocate will be like, all right, bring me a right back. And they'll recommend 1, 2, 3 players. But who are they going to recommend? Obviously, it comes down to our start. That's normal human behavior. If you're Rahim Hamid or Basil Gorgis, you're going to have players that you like. That's normal. And you're going to recommend, oh, this player is very good, by the way. And you're going to bring him in. I mean, you want to get to the more sinister parts in terms of Rashawi and stuff, people taking bribes to be in the national team. I mean, yeah, it might happen. I'm not saying it doesn't. Well, I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm fairly certain it does. Do I have proof of it? No. I don't think anyone's got proof of that. But we know it happens. There was also talk recently, former Iraqi player came out and accused Safa Hadi and Ala Abdizar of being recalled into the national team after being dropped because of things related to tribes and ahzab and stuff. And then he came out later in a video looking like a hostage. I'm not even joking. Like the video, if you saw the video of him saying, "Oh, so no, I made a mistake and stuff. My information was wrong." After the threats that were made against him, wallah, the video looked like somebody was hostage. Like it looked like an ISIS video. It looked ridiculous to have a grown man having to apologize to footballers. But it makes you really wonder about the state of Iraqi football where these things happen. But anyway, 2-1 up, 5 minutes added time, and all we had to do is just hold the ball. What do? We try sprinting, try to score another goal. We talk about lacking of IQ in terms of the Iraq national team. This is exactly what we mean. All you had to do was hold the ball. All you had to do is pass it. Don't panic under pressure. Keep the ball. Move it about the pitch. Keep it away from the UAE players. Let the clock count down. What do? Ibrahim Bayish gets the ball and just sprints down the right like a moron. He gets intercepted. He's out of position. Al-Ammari is nowhere to be seen. The ball comes in, and that comical defending. Everyone's seen that video of Safat tugging on Ahmed Ibrahim's shirt in the box whilst the striker skips past Fahad Talib and literally nets into an open goal. What was going on there? What were they trying to hug each other? Were they feeling a bit like a bit cold? I don't know. Like, why are you pulling on Ahmed Ibrahim's shirt? Safat? What are you doing? But I mean, even that, like, there were 3 Iraqi players in the box when that happened. 2 of them were hugging each other, and the other one was marking 2 players. The other one being Humam Tariq, who, of course, is not a left back, but advocates brought him on to replace Ali Adnan, who just looked so pathetic and unfit. But it goes back to my earlier point earlier. Like, why are you bringing on Humam? Like, you've got a left back in Durgham Ismail. Either Durgham's good enough and you trust him, or don't bring him in the squad. Why are you wasting a squad position? Bring another left back. It doesn't have to be France. Okay, say France is not good. Fine. Okay. The Iraqi league, there's not one good left back besides Ali Adnan. I mean, wallah, the state of Iraqi football right now is atrocious. It's genuinely shambolic. And part of it comes down to Basil Gorgi. Well, I think most of it comes down to my opinion to Basil Gorgis and Rahim Hamid, and we'll discuss what happened after the game because of it. But yeah, that last goal that got disallowed, what a save by Fahad Talib! What a save! Point blank, I couldn't believe it when I saw him keep the ball out. But there was massive miscommunication between the referee and the players. The Imarat thought they scored. The Iraqi players literally fell down nearly in tears. Ahmed Ibrahim was on the floor. They thought we'd conceded and the game was over. Alhamdulillah, we managed to claw back 1 point at least from a game where we really should have won and walked away with all 3. But it's the hope that kills you. That's the thing. That those last 20 minutes up until we conceded the equalizer, wallah, we looked really good. Amir changed the whole game where he turned these guys into footballers again. And I know part of it's psychological, part of it is that they actually started to believe in themselves again. But it just shows you how much influence one individual like Amir can have on a national team. Now imagine not just Amir, but imagine that team with Jilwan. Imagine that team with Rawan Amin. Imagine that team with Jihaz. Imagine that team with France starting and actually getting minutes for once. It's the hope that kills you, knowing that we have all these players available, ready to represent Iraq, delighted to play for Iraq, and they're still not given an opportunity. And then you see just one of them coming in and changing the game. And in the post-match interview, Amir even said the same thing. You know, we need to bring in more players like expats. We need to bring in players that can score goals, that can create. But yeah, it was frustrating. It was disgraceful. But after the match, I was supposed to meet Amir. He told me he'll come and say hi to the fans. The fans were incredible. They were there every time a player from the Iraqi team came close to us. We would sing their name. We would chant for them. Not a single player was left out from those chants. And the full time goes. And what did the players do? They sprint down the tunnel. Disgraceful. Disgraceful. The only player that came to say anything to the fans was Amir. He came, he clapped the fans off, and then he was asked to leave by the people in the stadium. But it just shows, you know, when they talk about ghira, they talk about these players caring to play for Iraq. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. A lot of these players feel entitled to play for Iraq. They feel that they have this God-given right to play for the national team. And the players that they accuse of not having ghira, that haven't drunk from the waters of Furat and Dijla, these are the ones that come and respond to the fans. These are the players that actually come in and try to show an appreciation to the fans. And then people turn around and accuse them of not wanting to play for Iraq. They say, oh, these guys, they only want to play for Iraq because they couldn't make it in Sweden, or they're no better than the local players, when the quality difference is astronomical. It really is time we have these guys just shut up for once and bring in the expats, bring in these players, start to develop Iraq football, because we have an entire generation of lost talent that we've let go to waste. And I'm going to be writing an article about this in the coming week. Please keep an eye out for it. It will be about the entire generation of Iraqi footballers that we've lost. And there are two players who I've spoken to, people that I respect a lot, top quality footballers, who they will be releasing statements very soon, talking about how they've been treated by the national team, talking about why they're reluctant to play for Iraq anymore, why they feel they've been mistreated and everything. I'm not going to comment on who. I'm not going to comment on any more on that. But just keep an eye out, because it's when I heard the news, when the players told me, initially it was one player, then it turned into two. I think they're going to release a joint statement. Wallah, I genuinely felt sick, because the quality of these players are unbelievable. Like these are not small players; they're big top players, and they're saying that they don't want to play for Iraq anymore just because of how they've been treated and dealt with. It's the hope that kills you. I keep saying it, but wallah, it's the hope that kills you. If we were just very bad, it is what it is. I mean, I'd imagine, I don't mean to diss anyone's country, but if I was sporting, I don't know, India, for example. I apologize to any Indians that might be offended that are listening to this for whatever reason. But if I was supporting India, I'd be like, you know what? Maybe the players is the best they've got. They're just giving it all, and it is what it is. But watching Iraq, knowing the talents that we have across the world, knowing how good some of these players can be on their day, and seeing them perform like they have been doing over the last 2 years, it's unforgivable, man. It's so sad and so disgusting, man. It's genuinely disgusting. These players come here and perform the way they do. Some of these players should not be playing football. Some of these guys have no right to be playing football, let alone for the Iraq national team. What does Humam bring to the team? What does Amjad Atwan bring to the team? What does Sharko bring to the team? Like these guys, Al-Ammari, to be fair, he had an alright game, but like this is the best Iraq can produce. 40 million Iraqis. This is the creme de la creme. Nah, mate, I don't buy it. I don't believe it. So what else is going on here? Wallah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's exactly my like how I feel about this is like, I can handle watching my team lose. Losing is not a problem. Like we watched how many World Cup qualifier like over the years. How many times have we finished devastated, like at the end, like with the tiny hope that we will qualify, and then in the end it gets knocked out. Losing is fine. We're used to it. The problem is like when you see these players are like they're entitled to their spot in the national team. When you have no club for a year, or you have a club and you haven't been playing, like Safa Hadi, for how many years was he with in Russia? He wasn't even playing in the second when they were in the second division. He couldn't get a game with them. Ali Adnan, I love the guy, but for a year you haven't played a game. What are you doing with the national team? And it's not just them. It's like player after player. Like they shouldn't be here, and but they're entitled to their spot. They're entitled. They sense an entitlement to the support of the fans. When you mentioned like the support of the fans in Imarat, like I'm watching the broadcast and I can hear like the whole match. It's just the Iraqi fans, and this is like a home game for an Imarat. You can't hear any of the Emirati fans at all, and it's like and they're supporting them like the whole 90 minutes. And this is what we get. This is the performance that we see. It's just like these fans, like they don't deserve to be represented by a team like this, by an FA like this. It's just it's really frustrating and infuriating to see it, like to see a goal like this. And like you can see like in complete opposite like situation is like when you have our U23 national team, which we'll get to, I'm sure. But they lost. They were knocked out of the West Asian Cup, but we saw an effort. We saw something from them, and for the response from the fans has been pretty positive for this team, which is complete opposite to the senior team, which they're sitting here. You have Dorgham doing interviews, bragging about I'm the best Iraqi player right now. Like you have nothing to show for it. Why are you you're going on these interviews and you're bragging about your level, but on the pitch, it's a different story. We don't see anything from you. And it's all these players. They love to take their do the interviews. They're focused on their on their social media and everything like that. I'm okay with that. Like, you do businesses, do social media, do whatever hairstyle you want. But on the pitch, I want to see effort. I want to see, that you appreciate the fact that you're representing 40 million Iraqis plus, the diaspora Iraqis all around the world. That you have to appreciate the weight of this shirt that you're wearing. We don't see this from all these players, and it's just so frustrating and it's draining to see. Like, it's the same guys, and it's over and over and over, and it's like it's just as I said, like, I can handle losing, but not in this way.
Absolutely, everything you said I completely agree with, and it really feeds into the next section that I want to discuss, which is what happened after the game. So I was supposed to see Amir after the match when he came to greet the fans. The security team and some of the technical staff from the Iraqi team, they didn't let him come to the fans. So I went to see Amir afterwards. Now Amir was him and Safat were being tested for doping, as a standard protocol after a game. Usually they pick one of the players that perform the best, and they pick a random player to make sure that the players aren't taking any enhancement drugs or anything like that. So they picked these two, and I went to the team bus, and I'm waiting there to see Amir. Basically, I just wanted to say hi to him before he flew back to Sweden. And I'm waiting there, and I see a majority of Emirati fans are there, and the Emirati fans, they're brutal as well. As the Emirati manager walks towards the bus, everyone, all the Emirati fans start booing him. But to be fair, when the players come, wallah, they start cheering like I don't know who's come on. Like flipping George Clooney just walked past. They start cheering or whatever. And I respected that a lot because, these players are respected by their team. They might not have the quality, but they're respected by the team, by the fans, I should say. And with the Iraqi team, complete opposite. Wallah, complete opposite. We're waiting there, me and my friend who was recording. Well, he wasn't recording. We were there waiting for Amir. The players start coming towards the bus, and the players come after the technical staff. So first of all comes they're like the medical team and that sort of thing. Then Rahim Hamid comes, and I posted some videos that were taken by my friends of some fans talking to Rahim Hamid. Now they were giving him like their opinion, and they're entitled to their opinion. One of the things that really stood out was Rahim Hamid saying, "غصباً عليكم تشجعون المنتخب." Like, no, you guys, you have to support the national team, like regardless of how we play. Nah, mate, it doesn't work like that. If you want to represent the team, you have to earn the right to be supported by your fans. There's no entitlement here. If you want to play for the national team, you need to work hard. You need to show that you care about the fans, and the fans will respond in turn to your passion, to your drive and your determination. You can't turn up and play 20% of your overall ability and your efforts, and then expect the fans to respond in turn. Nonsense. So that happened. That was the first thing that really kicked things off. I have to say, I was there. I would have said that other things, but the UAE police, they don't mess around, so I kind of had to watch my mouth. But I shouted some stuff as well. Rahim Hamid, he stood there staring at me for about 10 seconds after what I said, and I shouted in Arabic, and I'll say what I said. I said, "ما حد خرب المنتخب غير انتو وباسل قرقيس." And he didn't respond very well to what I said, but that's my opinion. I'm entitled to have an opinion. Who can tell me no, I'm wrong? I'm there. I'm in the stadium. We were all there in the stadium supporting the players, every single one of us. But we're allowed to voice our opinion. And that was what kickstarted the events that unfolded. Um, that came in. A few other people from the technical team came down to respond to fans. Sherko came in to have a word with the fans as well. To be fair, they welcomed him. It was a nice little chat. Then things started to take a more of a sour note. It was, if I'm not mistaken, Ibrahim Bayish who came off the team bus to have a word with the fans, but it looked, the way he came out was very aggressive, and the fans were like taken aback. Then within seconds, Aymen Hussain comes sprinting out of the bus, sprinting, and Al-Ammari running after him to join him. This guy is running straight for the Iraqi fans to attack them. Um, Ahmed Ibrahim, Bashar, the entire Iraq squad sprinting out of the bus after Aymen, trying to hold him back. They subdue him, and this guy keeps coming for the fans. The police go mental. They come in with horses, they come in with their motorbikes, they come in to protect the fans, to bring the situation under control. And all of this because some fans made comments towards Aymen. He responded with Ummudakum, and they responded again. By the way, like these guys, they weren't swearing. Like they were just voicing their opinion, saying, oh, you're here because of Rashawi and stuff. Again, like you're a national team footballer. You're supposed to be a professional. How can you attack fans for voicing their opinion? It's not like they were there swearing at your mother or whatever. I mean, to be fair, even if they did, you have no right as a professional footballer or as anybody to put your hand on somebody. How dare you do that? How dare you do that? And I'm so happy, alhamdulillah. I told my friend to record as this was unfolding because the video went viral. Nobody thought to actually share my post, my video, or at the time I just wanted it out there to show what was happening, so I didn't really watermark it. But yeah, amazing. Iraq pro players end up taking the video, posting, and everyone saying they're the source of the video. But to be fair, I love Yusuf, and I don't mind it too much if they get some credit. But I was shocked when I see Iraq FPG taking the video, getting millions of views, and not even crediting our website. It was really upsetting. I saw the video today on Sharqiyya. That cracked me up. Again, no source or whatever, but you know, it's one of those things. But yeah, I was there. I saw what happened. And no one can tell me that what I saw was wrong. Everyone that was there saw the reality of how unprofessional some of these footballers are. Aymen Hussain should never play for Iraq again for what he did yesterday. It was disgraceful. And I genuinely think if this happened and he wasn't a footballer, the Emirati police would have arrested him. Everyone that has been to Emirat knows the police here, they don't mess around. And it was unforgivable what happened. But yeah, that was the incident. I just want to add a disclaimer. In the video that I posted, there was a lot of swearing in the background. Now, there's a lot of messages saying that was me doing it. I promise you it's not. That was a guy next to me, and he wasn't swearing at the players. He was swearing at the fans, saying things like Adepsiziya or Saqtin and all that sort of stuff. That wasn't about the players. He was shouting. There was this one guy next to me. He seemed to have mental health issues. He tried to have a go at me because I was I made that comment to Rahim Hamid, and I was saying how good Amir played. He was telling me no, that I don't know anything about football, and I let it slide because he didn't seem like somebody worth engaging in a conversation with. Let's put it that way. But those comments, they were not made by me. I did not say anything like that, and they were made by this individual. They were talking about the Iraqi fans that made the comments toward Aymen Hussain. And yeah, just want to clarify that in case anybody comes and accuses me of anything. Hassan, what was it like seeing those posts coming as it was happening? Like, what was going on through your head as you were reading these comments? Because obviously I was there in the stadium and I couldn't believe what was happening. But how did it felt surreal. Like, genuinely, the one time I've ever seen anything like that happen, I was at a boxing match, big boxing match in Wembley Arena. And the fans just started rioting and fighting each other. And it just felt like I was at a boxing match yesterday, not a football match. What was it like at home seeing that unfold?
Yeah, it was just crazy. like we had just kind of started to come to terms with the result of the match, and then now you have like the post match, the mess, everything else after that. It was just a bit surreal. And then seeing your videos as they come, one by one, showing more and more of the chaos that was taking place. It's just crazy, and it's like it's just. I think it's another symptom of like what we're seeing with this team. It's like this entitlement to the fan support, which is like it's unbelievable. When you perform, you're not performing on the pitch game after game, and it's not like, and you're not showing any effort, you're not showing any desire, and then at the same time you have to support us. It's no wonder why we're seeing like this movement among like Iraqi fans, where it's like saying like this team doesn't represent us, and I've seen like a lot of people like backlash against that as well. But it's like it's totally understandable. Like when it's game after game, these players, they're not giving their best, and as well as like they're not respecting like the national team itself. Like when I can't offer anything, I'm not offering anything to take a step back and let someone else take your place. If it's like some of these players who used to have like strong reputation within the national team, every game they're playing now, it takes away from that. Now it's like respect your own career, you respect your own reputation, and take a step back and
have some dignity. Have some dignity.
Exactly. It's just shameful from the pitch, on the pitch, off the pitch, everything that comes with this team. And that's why, like, so many people they're disillusioned with this national team. When it used to be like that the Iraqi national team, like, it was a source of pride for some of us. Like, even if like we're not winning, but like it was something that like when you see the players like they're fighting with everything they have on the pitch, like it makes you feel like you feel proud of these players. That's not there anymore. And this is something like it makes me wonder. It's like this group of players, just in these last several months, how much support have they had from the FA, from the fans to the FA to everything? We got them they got a top coach. Like Advocat is like one of the most highly qualified coaches we've ever had with the national team. A great coach. You gave them training camps in Spain and in Turkey. A month, 2 months. Exactly. That these high-level training camps. You got them private flights to each of their games,
and a new kit sponsor.
New kits. You got them everything. Like that's and it makes me think like the 2007 generation that used to sleep on the floor of airports and would go and get bronze at the Olympics or Asian Cup 2007. What would they have done if they had this kind of support? Like what would they have achieved? It's and then these guys are coming in. They got all this support. They've got everything. Like what more do you want? And then the performance on the pitch is like it's one of the worst that I've ever seen from a national team. Probably the worst group in the history of Iraqi football. I don't think it's like an exaggeration to say that, because like we're getting outclassed by everybody. The only reason we're here is because of an own goal from I don't remember his name, but the player for Hong Kong from the last round. That's the only reason we're here. And it's just and then on like despite all of the situation, like how bad everything is, how bad they're playing, how everything, and they still feel this entitlement to like you can't say anything bad about us. You have to say like you have to praise us at every point. It's just it's shameful. And that's all there is to say about it.
Yeah, agreed. I completely agree. The thing is now, like, it gives me hope a little bit to see the way the fans have been turning on social media. A year ago, they were frustrated fans and stuff, but like not to the degree that we see now. Like, go to any player besides maybe like Amir and look at their comments. It is all just fans hurling abuse, hurling accusations. Again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong, but the kind of the wheels are turning. How long can this go on for before the people snap, before there's protest, before the entire FA has to change again? Because there's people like Iraqi fans. Our biggest issue as Iraqi fans is that we're too patient. Whether this comes to politics or personal matters, wallah, we're too patient for our own good. Like, we have so much sabr when other people wouldn't have put up with any of this nonsense. But now you're seeing the tide turning. You're seeing the comments every single post, like to the point I think Humam made his Instagram like private. No one's allowed to comment anymore, just because of the abuse this guy was taking. But like, he thoroughly deserves it. He thoroughly deserves it because he shouldn't be in that national team. He's got no business being there. One guy who's been unfairly treated would be Rebin Solak. Now, Rebin was supposed to be in the camp. He was invited. He was actually there. Unlike others, like Rebin, unlike Gilwan, for example, in France, Botros were invited, and literally the last second, I've seen the text messages. Oh, by the way, sorry, they've changed their opinion. They don't want you. Good luck next time. That's the gist of the message they received from Basil Gorgis. Rebin, fortunately, was invited. Problem for Rebin is that he's at a very big club. Buriram are a massive club owned by a president that has ties with Leicester. If you've noticed the kit, it looks very similar to Leicester's because the owners of the clubs are the same. And the president, obviously, Rebin's there as one of their star players, and there's a responsibility on Rebin to play for them at every given opportunity, even if he's not fit. So Rebin was supposed to fly to Iraq. He played the game. He missed the last round because of injury. He played this game before flying out, and he picked up an injury. He was stretchered off. I've seen the images. I've seen the pictures from the stadium, and I was asked not to share them. He's been speaking to me daily, like showing me videos of him in rehab and stuff, telling me, bro, I can't. Like, he told me before the game that I'm worried that fans are gonna actually start talking about me, saying I don't want to play for Araf. That's why I want to go, even if I'm injured. But the extent of the injury meant like he couldn't travel. It was really, really bad, and he sent the medical report to the national team. Within a couple of hours, this was leaked. How do I know it was leaked? Because he told me the day before it was announced. He told me, bro, the doctor said it'll be 10 days. And that meant he's going to miss both games. So he messaged the country's Basil Gorgis and the admin team saying, this is the situation. I don't think I can make it. And that all checked out. They saw the medical report. It was clear that this is not being like made up. The guy was injured. And so he spends the next 8 days recovering from the injury. On the 8th day, he goes to the doctor for Buriram, and they tell him, look, you're not that fit. You're about 60-70% fit. So he goes, okay, so what do you want me to do? He goes, well, you're gonna have to play because the president wants you to play. And this is Thailand. Overnight you can have your contract cancelled. So Rebin says, bro, I basically, they forced me to play. I have to play now. So the guy has to look after himself. He has to make sure that he's not going to get hurt. But he also has this is a human being. He's got a craze. He's got to play. So he plays the game, and it's really sad to see people talking about him, saying that he doesn't want to play for the Iraq national team, etc. It's absolute nonsense. This guy loves Iraq. He watches all the games, stays up at been ridiculous hours to watch the games, and the not the fans, to be fair, the advocate to come out and say that comment is completely out of order. Completely out of order. The advocate should have been focusing on the game. Shouldn't be commenting about Rebin Solak. Rebin wasn't in the camp. Why are you commenting on him? That was really poor. But again, it really makes you wonder what information was fed back to advocate, because advocate is not the one seeing these reports. It's the admin team. And the comment that advocate makes is very interesting. It's very telling. He says Rebin wasn't clear in what he said. Is it that Rebin wasn't clear, or that you were misquoted? That Rebin was misquoted when they told you the information, advocate? Or was it that they mistranslated things, if you want to get a bit more sinister? You don't know. if Rebin's another one that gets added to the list, wallahi, I mean, it's genuinely disgraceful that another quality player is now being kept away from the national team because of nonsense like this. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it's nothing. Hopefully people come to their senses and realize that actually Rebin's done nothing wrong. He's a human being with a career. His career just happens to be football, and he's got ends to meet. He's got a responsibility to play for his club. At the end of the day, these guys, they come play for Iraq for free, whether it's Rebin or Justin or whatever. But their clubs are always going to be priority. And I've said this before when Justin couldn't make that flight to I think it was the Hong Kong game or whatever. When he couldn't make it to national, that was what led to him being kicked out for a long time. I understand it because these guys have careers. You know, football is a very short period in someone's life when they're a footballer and as a career. We're talking, what, 10, 15 years to make enough money to hopefully last you a lifetime. This guy is in Thailand. Well, it's a good career move, but he wants to make money, you know? He's a human being. He's got families. He's got responsibilities. Give him a chance to make money. Like, I know, obviously, you're going to play for Iraq and this and that, but give the guy a break. You know, he's injured. He didn't want to play. Like, would you rather he's like Ali Adnan and he comes in half fit and takes a valuable member of the squad's position and he makes mistake after mistake because he can't move? Is that what you want? Well, part of me thinks, yeah, they do want that because of the whole ghira nonsense, but it's part and parcel of Iraqi football, I suppose. Anyway, enough about that. What do you think of the under 23s, Hassan? Let's move on to some good news. We mentioned them earlier. We talked about some of the positives that we've seen with them. What were your thoughts watching those games? So just very quickly, just to actually summarize what we saw. The Iraq under 23s played in the West Asian Cup. We had in our group, it was, if I'm not mistaken, Lebanon, UAE, and Palestine. 3 games. We won the first 2, and we drew the last one against Lebanon 2-2. And then we played Saudi, the hosts. The whole tournament was held in Dammam. We played Saudi in the semi-finals, and we lost narrowly, 1-0, if I'm not mistaken. It was a lot has happened since then, so my memory is a bit jaded. But yeah, Hassan, what are your thoughts on this?
Like, there's a number of positives to take from them. Like I liked right away, like before even the qualifiers. I like that the coach, like Miroslav Sokop, I think his name, but he's been trying to bring in like a lot of these young expat players, and this is a generation like I think we really need to take care of. Like we can't like waste them. Like when you have like Cardo, we have Zidane Iqbal, you have Ali Hamadi.
You got Jamil Quraishi as well, who's working on his paper.
Exactly.
This morning as well. He's trying to make it happen to play for Iraq, so it's good news there.
Yeah, it's a long list, and these are players at like good clubs across around Europe, and it's so important that we take advantage of these guys and like bring them in, and like, take care of them in the national team, help like nurture them, bring them in through the levels, and we're seeing signs that at the youth levels, even U19s with Imad Mohammed, he's trying to bring some of them in as well, which is positive. And here with the U23s, we're trying to see as well, same thing. But unfortunately for this qualifiers, we could only see 2 of them. I think Nadim Costa, I think, and Zidane Iqbal.
Yeah.
Zidane Iqbal, star of the show. I have to say, like,
has to be expected, to be fair.
Yeah, as expected. The thing is, like, when you're coming into these in an environment, especially with the Iraqi national team, when you have there are people out there who are waiting for you to fail. Like, especially when you're coming in as an expat, coming into the national team, there are people who are waiting for you to fail so that they can say, like, see, Adna Bidori, our Iraqi league players, they're better.
Yeah.
So it's a tough environment, and especially coming in, you have the name that Manchester United player. I mean, there's all this pressure that comes in.
Itself comes with pressure.
Exactly. So all of this, piles on top of each other, and and he handled it beautifully. Like, he came in, you know, uh, like just a class above everyone else. Like in terms of like his on the ball, like you can see him, like on the ball, just like the quality of player that he is, the way he passes the ball. There's some like base. It's expected that since he's coming in new to this team, and some of the players like there's a lack of chemistry a little bit there, but you'll get there.
Sorry, can I just
more
add
game
as
time.
well, by the way, like this was an under 23 cup. Zidane's 18. And it just shows you how developed he is as a footballer. Like he's 5 years younger than some of the players that were in that tournament. And he didn't look out of place at all.
Yeah, and seeing him play, it's like it's not a surprise why he's getting he's doing training sessions with the first team with Man United from time to time. So that's it's not a surprise, and this is a big talent that we really need to protect and take care of in this national team, and like. Overall, like, and it's not just him and this U23 team. Satib, he also looked quite good.
Yeah.
A number of a number of the players, like they look pretty good, and they're putting in the effort. They're playing well. They're passing the ball, a lot of interplay. Not bypassing the midfield like we see so many times with the senior team. There's a lot of progressive play, keeping the ball on the pitch, on the grass, moving it around, breaking down, creating attacks. A lot of that, those are all big positives. And we didn't win the cup, but youth football, it's not about winning the tournament in the end. Like we won, like how many times have we won like all these youth tournaments? We either win them or we finish finalists, and then like
with
the players they disappear.
Yeah, because the players are fake.
Exactly. And so like for this team, I think we hold like it's 90% of them are their correct ages, which is a beautiful thing for Iraqi football. It's like it's semifinals. You went out against Saudi, which is like one of the toughest teams in the around in this kind of tournament, which is like it's a respectable result, 1-0. It's not bad, and I really hope that
they
these
held
players.
their own. To be fair, they held even
Exactly.
that 1-0. It's not like complete domination. Iraq looked good.
Yeah. We had chances. We just couldn't take care of them. But I really think like it's a U23 tournament with these players all being in and around like their early 20s, 20 to 23 years old. These guys, I'd want to bring them into the senior team like right now. Don't delay. Like the thing is like not as starters, but like give them a taste of like the senior level. The thing is like you delay too long. You 20, 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds, around around the world, like they're playing senior national teams. Like why can't we do the same? Not as key players, but I give them game time. I'd want to move them in progressively.
I get what you're saying, but for me, like, so there were talks today, I read earlier, not from a particularly reliable source, but talking about Zidane, there's talks of him being invited by Advocate to join the first team in the next round against South Korea and Syria. But as a friend to Zidane, and I was speaking to him every single day, I wouldn't want him to go. Because like you said, this guy's a national treasure. We need to protect him. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't trust the players in the national team to look after him. I genuinely wouldn't. We saw what happened to Jilwan, where he went to the first team and just players not passing to him, ignoring him. We saw Justin's video that he posted recently about him sitting on the edge. Him and Franz and the other local players sat away from them. I wouldn't trust the players to look after Zidane just yet. Maybe in a year or two time when he's established himself, hopefully as a player at United or at a club level, if he ends up moving to get more game time or whatever. Only then would I think he's ready for that role. But I mean, in terms of quality, yeah, absolutely, I think he's good enough. Absolutely, I think he's levels above anyone we have in the national team. But I just wouldn't want to put that pressure on him. if he feels ready to go and perform, then let's go. But I don't think we should
Yeah,
push him into making that decision. It should be his decision. But there are other players in that national team under 23 squad that were brilliant. Um, Sartib's one of them. The goalkeeper had a few good games. He made a mistake in the last one. That was frustrating, but um, it looked good. It looked good. I have to say, it was a lot of promising talents. Main thing for me was not that the individual players, though. I think for me, the main thing was that the players, number one, showed character, they showed desire, they showed hunger, and they showed an ability to understand their basic game plan. Like they looked very clear in terms of the strategies the manager had put into place in training, and they went out and actually tried to play that way, playing fast football, a lot of wing play involved, a lot of crosses, a lot of pressing as well. Like I compare the level of pressing in those games to what I saw yesterday against Lebanon, non-existent. Watching Ala Abdul trying to press a defense, wallah, is laughable. This guy is like genuinely like, give it a couple of years, he's going to be using a walking stick. That's how bad he looked yesterday. And to see on the 23s, complete opposite, man. Like I was so proud of them, and it's proof that Iraqi fans, we're not here just to win. That's not the issue that we complain. Oh, we're not winning. Nah, the issue is that these players, they don't respect the shot, and the under 23s respected the shot, and that's why we gave them all our support. You know what? There's not many countries where fans will sit and watch the under 23s. How many fans, sorry, watch England uh, football clubs support the English national team? How many of them watch the under 23s? One. No one. Under 23s for Iraq, wallah, the whole country's watching. And it shows you how much the national team means to us. But it also shows you how little it means to some of these players. It's heartbreaking, but alhamdulillah, like big things to look forward to with that team. Zidane especially. Inshallah, we get Cardo back from his injury. Jami gets his papers sorted. You have Ali Al-Hamadi hopefully finds a club and he's ready to play for the under 23s again. And now you have that spine. You have a striker, a midfielder, and a defender in that team, and you have a winger as well in Jami. Now start talking about the other players in Europe, like Amin
Ayman
Dakhil,
Hussain.
Ayman Sher, talk about Hussein Ali, talk about, for example, uh, Ali Al Musawi that we interviewed previously. That we're talking about players playing at the highest level of world
Yeah.
football.
It's no longer the excuse that, like,
Yeah.
previously they'd be like, you're trying to bring in expats from the second division of Sweden or Norway. It's not like that anymore.
By
Like,
the
and even
way,
those guys, Amir Al-Ammari last season he was playing second division, and right now he looks like prime Zidane, Zidane
yeah,
playing with these guys.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
it's another level. And now, like, with this group, it's like they're playing at top clubs, top leagues around Europe, and it would be a crime if we let them go to waste and we don't take care of them. We don't give them the support they need to succeed with the Iraqi shirt.
100%, 100%. And on that note, guys, I just want to say how amazing it was to interview Amir. Truly a lovely person. We had a lot of fun, and we promised that we'll have him back on the show for a much more in-depth interview, hopefully away from International Week. We'll do it when it's a bit more quiet, so we can just really focus on him and his career, rather than have him on a month where we're discussing the football that's taken place. So, without further ado, we're going to move over, and I'm going to show you the interview we did with Amir. Enjoy. Well, first of all, Amir, I want to just say thank you so much for joining us. It really is a pleasure. You're somebody we've been trying to get hold of for a long time, and to finally have you on the show is amazing.
Thank you very much.
Amir, let's jump straight into the discussion. We're in public, so if you guys hear any background noise, I do apologize. We are in the team hotel. We're recording right before Iraq take on the UAE tomorrow. Amir, this is your first season in the first division of Sweden. How have you found it with your new club?
Really good. I have a good season this far. We maybe not there we want to be in the table, but for me, it has been a really good season. Adapting like really quickly to the first league, so I'm really happy I made that choice to go to Halmstad.
What's been the biggest challenge of playing in the first division for you?
Like I said before, like in interviews, that already like last year I felt that I was ready to play in the first league. So for me coming to the first league, it was just proving for myself that I could do it. And it haven't been a really challenge, but it's a little bit the tempo, and it's more speed in the first league than it is in the second league. So yeah, that's the big difference.
We'll hopefully do another interview in the future where we can really look at your kind of club career and everything that's happened so far in your life. Today, we're going to keep it very brief. I just want to have a little discussion on Iraq and the national team. What's the first Iraq match that you remember watching as a young child?
As a young child, I remember that I watched the 2007 Asia Cup final against Saudi Arabia when Yunus Mahmoud scored. So, to be honest, I think that was the first game like I remember I was watching.
So that's your first memory. Now, a few years later, you're actually starting for the Iraq national team. You're in the squad. How have you found your first few games for the national team?
Really good actually. I started against Korea when I didn't know even I was starting. I just came to get the experience to be with the national team, but the coach put me straight into the starting 11, and it came like a shock for me. But it was just to take it in and prepare myself to do a good game. And alhamdulillah, I think I performed very well. And yeah.
How have you found playing under the new manager, Advocate?
It's been good. His style of playing is similar to what we do in Europe, so it's easy for me to understand what he wants from me and all the players. So I've tried to understand what he wants and bring it out to the players also, because maybe they're not used to playing that style in Iraq that he wants to play, but. Yeah, it's been good. He's a good coach, and he knows what he wants.
Have there been any like standout moments for you for the national team, like specific moments or like memories that you've had so far?
Yeah, of course, my debut against Korea and playing against them with a lot of big players in Europe, and see that I even can have the qualities to play in the international games also. So that's the memory I'm taking with me so far.
Have there been any instances or things that you've experienced where you think it's going to take time getting used to when it comes to the national team?
Not really, but of course, there's some things that we do in Europe that they're not used to, like in the national team. So it's just getting know every player and their qualities and the style of playing. So that's the only thing.
Can I ask, well, what's been the biggest difference in terms of the Iraqi style of play and what you're used to playing in Sweden at a club level? What have you found to be the biggest differences?
The organization in the team, like defensively and offensively. It's a lot more tactics in Sweden, but of course we train the whole week together in Sweden, and it's a club. So here everybody comes from different clubs, and it's tough to put a team together and like get exactly what you want to in a couple of days. So here's more easy tactics and to get results. So yeah.
Which Iraqi players right now in the squad have you like enjoyed playing with the most?
Of course, I have a good connection with Bashar and Al-Ammari and Ali Adnan. I think they helped me very much since I arrived, and yeah, they.
Have you been given a roommate or are you in the room alone?
I'm in the room alone.
Oh, you're chilling there?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm chilling alone.
I was going to ask you.
Everybody have a room by their own. So, but yeah, I chat a lot with Bashar and with Amhawi. So I really enjoy being with them.
Do you speak Arabic or English to them?
I speak Arabic.
So fluently, you're
yeah.
chilling with them like it's all natural?
Yeah.
very good. All right, so let's take things back home for you in Sweden. Which Iraqi players in Sweden are you close with?
I'm really close to Peter Guargis. I grew up with him since we were like 5 years old, both of us. We lived at the same street, and we we had like 50 meters between our houses. So I'm really close to him. I talk to him every day, and I talk to Mohana Jaz also a lot. Ahmed Yassin, Julwan Hamad, like every player in Sweden that like have a Iraqi background, we have a good connection, all of us. So yeah, I have a contact with them.
I just want to ask you about Peter Guargis. There's been a lot of rumors about him wanting to represent Australia. Obviously, he used to play for Sweden at the youth level, and there's been a lot of rumors that he wants to play for Australia. Do you know anything about this?
What I know is that he has an Australian passport and a Swedish passport. So to play for Iraq, he needs to get rid of one of them. But I've talked to him and have seen what happened with me in the national team and the response I've got. I've talked to him a lot, and I know he's still young and doesn't have to rush the decision. But and don't want to put pressure on him, of course, because he's my friend, and I want him to take the right decision and what's best for him. So yeah, I talk to him a lot. I talk to Mohamed a lot.
Is there a chance we could see Peter in the future playing for Iraq?
Hopefully, I hope so. So right now he's with the Swedish national team under 20s in Spain, but I think in the future we will hopefully see him in the Iraqi national team.
Hopefully, there's a lot of talent surrounding him, and people really do rate him. And hopefully, we see him playing alongside you with the first team. There's a lot of young Iraqi expats, specifically in Sweden. We talk about the likes of Kevin Yaqub, Aymen Hussain, Hussein Ali, amongst many others. What advice would you give to these youngsters who have still, maybe they don't represent Iraq yet, they're playing for Sweden or they're playing for other countries like Ali Al-Moussawi in Denmark? What advice would you give these guys?
Of course, to do what feels great for them, and not just looking at the media and taking the pressure from the media, because I had the same way. I was playing for the Swedish national team, but then you come to a time when you don't represent the under 21s anymore, and then you need to take a decision. Is it far away to be in the Swedish first national team, or is it closer to be to Iraqis? So it's all about having patience and take the right decision at the right time.
There's a lot of people who say that these expats, they only represent Iraq when they realize they can't make it at Sweden or Denmark or wherever. What do you have to say about these people? Like, is there something wrong with these players wanting to have Iraq as a backup plan, or do you think as long as the player comes in and he's giving 100%, that's all that matters?
Of course, I understand them because they grew up in Sweden, they have everything in Sweden, so of course to have their background it's easier for them to just pick the Swedish national team because they know what they get from there. They haven't been here, see the Iraqi national team, been in the organization and knows what the Iraqi team is all about. So I don't think it's a backup plan, it's just a matter of what feels good for them at that moment. And of course they need to think about their future and not the others.
How have you found Iraqi fans in general with like social media and well, you don't see anything in the stadium yet, unfortunately, but hopefully very soon the games return to Iraq. How have you found the Iraqi fans and their support for you?
They are amazing, like on another level. So the response I got and after the games, the messages. Now I can't read every message because it's so much, but the stories they tag you in, the videos they make of you, the pictures and everything, you don't miss anything because yeah, they tag you in everything, and yeah, they're amazing. They give you so much support and you feel loved in your country.
It's really good to hear that you're having a good start to your Iraqi national team experience. But I want to ask you, Where do you see the future going for Iraqi football? Maybe in like 5 or 10 years. What do you see as like the path Iraqi football will take or has to take in order to kind of progress?
Of course, to get an organization that really cares about the team and the country, of course. And as we speak now, it's a lot of young Iraqi players out in Europe, all over Europe. So I think the next step is to really try to bring them in and give them all a chance, because I don't think the national team has had so much Iraqi youngsters, so much talent out in Europe before. And now it's time to maybe, it's not up to me to say it, but maybe make a change and give all of them a chance to represent the national team and take next step in the progress.
You've obviously played with a lot of players right now from the Iraqi league that have made their careers in Iraq, and you've also played in Sweden. These young players like Kevin Yaqub, like Peter Guargis, what do you think these guys will bring different to the national team?
Of course, the understanding of the tactics, because all of them is raised in football academies, and we start at a very young age to get everything like the trainings of a real athlete, what to eat, what to how to sleep, get the tactics and everything, organization at the pitch, you know. So that's, I think that's the main thing that you see in difference from the Iraqi players.
It's it's a tough question to ask right now, considering that we have a big game tomorrow. But hopefully we get the 3 points. Good luck with this, obviously tomorrow.
Thank you.
I hope to see you starting, but we'll wait and see. My final question to you, Amir, is what do you think the chances of qualification to Qatar 2022 are?
I think they're really big, because we need to just get a win. We need to get a win to get the confidence back in the team and everybody to just get the hope back to the people in Iraq and feel the joy of 3 points. As soon as we get the 3 points, I think it will turn the other way and get to the positive vibes again, and hopefully we'll reach the top three.
Do you think we have a better chance if we play the games in Iraq?
Of course, the pressure of I've seen pictures and videos of when they play in Iraq. If we get that pressure from the fans and many teams come to our pitch, I think they will be scared to face us, and the energy they can bring to us on the field would be unbelievable.
Amir, just once more, thank you so much for your time today. It's really been an amazing experience chilling with you, sitting here. Thank you for signing the Iraq shirt as well. We wish you all the best. Good luck tomorrow, and we look forward to having you on the show for hopefully a much more in-depth interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, really interesting interview. It was so interesting to hear his thoughts on especially the expat situation. Like when the expat players are telling you, bring in other expats, it'll be good for the national team. And when those players are easily your best players in the squad, I think it's time for us to take notice of what they're saying, especially when they're all telling you the same message, which is let us work with players we know how to play with. Give us a chance to really prove ourselves. It really makes you wonder, like how much talent we've had go to waste, whether it's Shawan Jalal back in the day or Ahmed Yassin and Justin right now and Jilwan, etc. But yeah, it's a shame. But yeah, thank you so much to Amir for actually having us over at the team hotel, for doing the interview, and I'm really excited to have him back on the show. Very quickly, Hassan, what do you expect to happen against Syria and South Korea? Both games held in Basra. Fortunately, the games have returned to the Iraqi national team's home games for once, which is in Basra. What do you think we could expect?
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't clear already after the first two games against Korea and Iran, it's even more obvious right now, is that we need changes in this team. We need changes in the lineup, in the squad. And There are some rumors that maybe we'll see some changes, but for me right now, we heard the same thing after Iran, after we lost 3-0. I'll believe it when I see it. If we're going to come in with this same lineup, the same group, I don't see us getting anything from those two games. Despite everything, despite, yeah, we're playing at home again, and, it's away from the humidity of Qatar and all this stuff. But, at the end of the day, it's 11 versus 11 players, and, they have to make it count. And I don't think the guys we have right now that we saw in these last 4 games, I don't think they can, offer us anything. Against Syria, maybe a draw. Korea, I think, they beat us. The best thing that we have in our, at this point, unless we change the lineup, unless we bring in, more of these expats, Mohamed Jazz, he has to be in the team right now. There's no argument right now. We have no left back. And he's the best in the
or a right back.
Yeah, and at least at right back, you can say, Al-Ammari is right back. But at left back, there's nobody right now. And it's all over the pitch. But Mohamed Jazz has to be in there. Amir Al-Ammari, of course. If he gets dropped, it's insanity. Gino and Hamid, they made the excuse last time that he hasn't been playing. Hasn't been playing games. That excuse doesn't fly anymore, especially when you're still calling up, Safa Hadi and Ali Adnan. And he's been playing games now anyways, so there's no excuse now. He has to be in it, and now we got players, we have players. Let's use them. So if we can bring those guys in, I would change my I could say that we can beat Syria at home. We could maybe get a draw against Korea. We can maybe even make a win if we brought those guys in. When you have the fans in Basra, you have it's a different atmosphere than playing in Seoul or playing in Qatar, playing anywhere else. It's a different atmosphere. So I think we could get results if we make the right changes to the squad and bring in the best players for the position and take full advantage of the talents that we have available to us. So if not, I don't see us getting much, maybe a point out of the 2 games. I think Syria, they can score goals. We saw them against Lebanon. They lost, but they can score goals when as they need. They scored against Korea as well. Everybody can score goals pretty freely in this group except us, and so I think that's going to bite us. When we play Syria with the current group, as I said again, I think a draw and a loss to South Korea. Make some changes, and maybe I change my my prediction.
Yeah. All right. Well, Hassan, those games are going to be held in Basra, and the fans are amazing. And I just want to say a special thank you to all the fans that have been really, really supporting our page over the last couple of weeks, especially yesterday when our videos went viral, and a lot of people weren't crediting us for our efforts and contributions to the Iraqi game. A lot of people were actually sharing tweets and comments saying, actually, no, this video belongs to Iraq Football Podcast. And I just want to say a massive thank you for everyone who supported our page. We're growing very, very quickly, and we want to just continue to grow and have more influence in terms of getting interviews, getting exclusive content that we want to share for you guys. So thank you for the continued support. We really, really do appreciate it. Even though sometimes we're not able to comment and reply to everybody, a lot of people message me DMs trying to ask questions and stuff. The truth is, guys, it's just me and Hassan that run this page, and it's hard to get in touch with everybody and reply, but we really, really do appreciate it. So thank you once more, and we look forward to continuing this journey and this growth with you guys fully on board with our project. Hassan, if our fans want to contact you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, pretty much entirely on Twitter, Hassan O_1193.
Hassan, also, I just want to give you a big shout out. You've done amazing work with the Instagram page. What's our Instagram page, Hassan?
Yeah, the same as Twitter, Iraq Football Podcast.
Yeah, so guys, you want to find me on Twitter at Iraq Football Podcast. Nope, that's not true. It's at Iraq Football Pod. The website is www.iraqfootball.me. And if you want to find us on Instagram, find where Hassan controls the page. I've managed to get access back into it. Hassan, he kicked me out. No, I'm joking. It's at Iraq Football Pod. If you want to find my personal Instagram account, it's at Hassanen, Hassane. I post a lot of content there as alongside the Iraq Football Pod username. So guys, we want to hear from you. Please subscribe to our pages. Leave us some reviews, hopefully 5 stars. We're trying to grow the pages. We need subscriptions. We need hits on the websites. Look forward to my article coming out. I might release 2 actually. So yeah, we're fully looking forward to the next month of Iraqi football. Hopefully we see some improvements. God knows we need it. But yeah, until then, Yalla ya Iraq.